I think 3 or 4 times the amount of rushing touchdowns he has passing touchdowns, I think.
Wow. That's
He only has like 2 passing touchdowns the whole season, so it's not that hard to.
I like a quarterback that can scramble and run.
Bengals had one that could do that. Then he died.
Yeah.
What? Who's dead?
Joe.
He's not dead.
Yeah, I mean
in
for at least
football,
a
we're
year
always
and a
dead.
half. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, you're in here. Look at you.
Yeah, I know. Look at me. Cam Newton has 4 touchdown passes, and he has 9 touchdown rushes. So.
All right, I just gotta fix. Oh boy, this is.
Oh, okay, I got it. Figure out what the hell I was doing here.
Kevin's thing's not up on Discord. His webcam, so I can't look at his face.
It's going straight to OBS. You can't do both.
Where Chris is?
Let's see here. Nope, that's me.
Earlier, I clicked the link Kevin sent me, and then I put me in a random game.
Yeah, that's what I was in earlier.
I was like, I don't want to be in here.
Why not?
Why not?
Ooh.
You're the one that I want.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna. What is your user thing? Your profile ID thing?
What does that mean?
What's your profile picture?
On what? Oh, the guy. That's Mayhem.
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 Ryan. What is?
Oh, what's mine?
Yeah. What is that?
Shelby drew that for me.
Somebody's pissing a rainbow.
No, it's a game.
I feel like you've had to say that multiple times.
No, it's Nisano.
Oh my god.
That's what I said. It's from a game, and it's one of the characters that I really like. Chris. It's just one of the characters that I really liked. Just the design of. So Shelby drew me as that guy, and the rainbow is supposed to be a cat that's telling me to like follow it, but it got cut off.
Cool.
I like it.
I'd like to see because it's only a small circle. I'd like to see the actual.
That I really like. Give me 1 second.
Cool.
Shelby and I have sent a lot of memes back and forth the last forever. So
if you want to watch chat, I posted the link in the Discord.
There's a lot of shit I have to scroll through. Oh, the cat's in here.
Why is your name Booby?
It's not. It's Bobble. Or Booble. I don't know.
What's Booble?
Acts of Love and Pleasure, a journal of Wiccan and pagan erotica. I don't know why Shelby sent me that. She did.
Why not? That's a better question. If someone's watching the VOD later on, we're going to be talking about the Patreon show.
Heck.
The first 3 episodes have gone up. I like also, Alex and Desiree, we had very big conflicting schedules this week. So we had to record last night, so we couldn't do it last night. And then tonight they are not available. And then obviously we thought maybe Thursday, then I realized Thursday is Thanksgiving. So, yeah. So tonight's pretty much the only night we were able to do this. And, yeah. So
why even play anything? Why can't we just talk about this show?
Yeah, that's the plan. And then if we run out of stuff to talk about,
oh, okay, I see.
We can play the game.
I'm gonna find this picture. I swear, it's gonna give me a second.
Don't do it. So if we do want to, we're gonna switch to games. If any of our $10 patrons do show up, we might play some games. They have busy lives, and we are a very small Patreon.
Yeah, very true.
And I'm the only one with the webcam on.
I could turn mine on if you wanted me to.
No, I'm just stating a fact. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, Ryan.
Found the Wheezy emote that Shelby drew.
So Patreon show. What did you guys think? First 3 episodes.
I liked episode 1. in 2. Wait, no, I didn't like episode 2.
Is it because I hate you a lot?
Yes. And episode 3 was good. No, I really enjoyed the 3 episodes we've done that are out. I'm very
What are your thoughts,
excited
Chris?
going.
I love it. I love being back in Pride and Hearth. You know, we talked about that for a while.
Yeah, that was
how much
my
we
idea.
missed that. Yeah, so that was a good idea, and you know, I loved the way the first episode we just took plenty of time to get to know the characters. I love that. Did the driver of the carriage make it into the show? I can't remember or not.
So, yes, I had to do some editing magic, but he's in it 100%.
Love that guy, and I don't even know the reference. I don't know what you guys are like calling back to, but he's just great. So I'm sad that he's not coming with us.
Was the carriage driver a reference? I don't remember.
No,
I don't know.
It's just
like,
a
you guys are
voice.
talking
It's a
about.
voice
the
that I'm
voice was, like,
actually halfway
Scruffy.
decent at.
Scruffy the janitor.
Yeah, basically Scruffy the janitor.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you might make a future appearance? You know, you just bring him on in, then you can like do a couple of NPCs like I had to.
He finds the box,
Maybe.
and then he gets sucked into the box.
Yeah. Oh, that could be the trick ending.
Yeah, he's the puzzle master.
Oh boy,
I'm doing.
I'm trying
No,
to
but
get my green
I'm
screen
enjoying
to
it. I
work.
mean, every episode's been great so far. So, and it's nice to be a player.
Yeah, I bet that's a refreshing take for you.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find my way. Like, you know, we spent a lot of time kind of come up with these characters and their backstories and whatnot. And I've got a pretty good. Well, I had to switch mine at the last minute because
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I was originally going to make Galileo a bard.
You could have done
And-
double bard though; it would have been awesome.
Well, I mean, after the fact, it's kind of like, yeah, I might as well have. But I mean, I pictured him as a bard the whole time. And then Kevin let me know that the NPC in the game was a bard. And I'm like, I had a bad
Yeah, I
experience with
figured
that.
I'd let you in
Yeah.
on that.
What are you
Yeah,
doing?
so I mean, it was I had a bad experience with being like the same class as another guy in another group, so I was like, I forget it, and so I've kind of had to reinvent it. So it's kind of cool. Like I've had to come up with this whole other story, and we're getting like a cool backstory that's going to be coming out of it that I never intended. So I'm really looking forward to an upcoming flashback. We'll talk about that next month.
Ooh, I'm
Um,
excited for that.
I'm.
Also, Ryan, I am.
I saw it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
when I
making
asked
use
what
of my green screen.
when I asked what you were doing, I looked over, and as soon as I saw like you minimize it, I went, "Oh, okay, I know what he's doing."
Wait, what's going on with the green screen?
He put our logo in his green screen.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the video,
I'm excited because this is the class. Like, this is something I've never played as.
Yeah.
I've always been like martial and melee. I haven't really like we played D&D. Like the ranger kind of has like a couple spells,
yeah,
but I mean they're not like this.
Pathfinder
and,
Ranger's the same way. Like you
yeah.
get to like level 3 and you start getting spells instead of having spells right off the bat.
Yeah. But I kind of wanted to. I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone, so to speak, in terms of class, and I didn't want to go like super complicated with it. So I thought, oh, I'll do a cleric. I mean, every party needs a cleric. I mean,
So this is your first caster then?
yes.
Like, okay.
And,
What all classes have you played?
in D&D, I played a ranger, and then I've played
Fighter?
Solarian, and then or soldier, Solarian, and fighter. Yeah, Solarian
Okay.
was kind of like oh, this seems kind of cool. I built Domach completely wrong. If I would have went back and built him right, I think he would have been a way better like character in just terms of class build. But yeah, it was just kind of a like I wanted. This is kind of like a special show, so I wanted to do something that I had like. That's why when I still have to kind of figure out how to get everything figured out on Hero Lab, like where like with spells and stuff.
You also
but-
played a cleric in 5e.
did I?
Mm-hmm. That one shot we did in Boston.
Oh, I did play a cleric there. He was pretty cool.
He was kind of he kind of used inspiration from him to make this
I
character.
did use inspiration from him for this character that I have right now. Yeah, that was. I didn't really get to do a lot of cleric stuff in that one shot, really.
Yeah, it was very short because I didn't want to have it like
Well,
go
no,
on for
well,
hours, like
didn't. I
Alex's
mean,
game.
I was gonna say you could have because there's one on for a long time.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Can we got to backtrack just for a second. So you said you didn't get to do a whole lot as a cleric in that game. I played in a game. It was the first episode, and we all started out in separate cells, and I was a cleric. And when I built this thing, it was first level, and most of my spells were touched. I think I had like one ranged, and it didn't do anything at all. So we're trying to have to break out of prison. The rogue of our party, I had this plan going. I was talking to this guard that was like sympathetic to us. And if we would have just let it play out, I think we would have got out of prison. But the rogue of the group said, "Nah, I'm done." He busts out of the jail cell. All hell breaks loose. All of my party members die. And because I cast one little spell to try to do something, the leader of the group saw me, and so the next day I ended up with my head like cut off, and I was on a pike. So I was like, I didn't get to do. I know I didn't get to do. It was a TPK. I played one episode with this character, and I didn't get to do anything.
What was like the room reaction?
We were just. I don't even know. Like everybody's just kind of like, I can't believe it just happened.
Yeah.
You know? And then we said, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
like when I like didn't do a lot. I don't think I used. I think I may have used.
There
like,
was only one combat
healing
or two
thing.
combats.
Yeah, I think I healed. Who was in our group?
It was Al,
me, Al,
Steph, and Susie.
Susie. I think I healed one of them too, like one time.
Yeah. Well, I took out Susie at least I think once.
Yeah, I think
because you turned into like a cat or something.
Yeah, and you just like punched her with like your troll or whatever the fuck we were fighting.
Hey, the chat's working. Cool. Thanks for
Cool.
testing that, Chris.
You got it. That's what I'm here for. Testing and talking, but I'm better at texting. Back to Ryan. I kind of interrupted him. Like, I mean, was cleric like a lot more simple than some of the other casting classes? Because I tend to stay away from them myself.
I mean, I guess in terms of, I guess I thought it was, and then when Kevin and I were building the character, going through all the spells, it was like, oh fucking Jesus! There's so much stuff so much to choose from.
Yeah, but cleric spell list is huge.
It is, but
I do like the thing that we got for you though. That the thing, you know, the thing.
I know the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing's cool.
I can't wait till that comes into play.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. There's a couple of things I'm pretty excited to come into play, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of just like, again, every party kind of needs a cleric. Was my thinking, and I had the idea for my cleric. Like Kevin and I as soon as we talked about doing the Patreon show, I think Kevin and I were talking about it, where I'm like, oh, I think I want to do a cleric like the one I had in 5e. So that's like, I had this idea for, months before we even started the show. So it really wasn't more of like is it simple? It was more of like I wanted to continue on like the toe dip in the water per se into a different kind of class style that I went through.
Yeah.
So
we have to let me know how you feel about it once we get, pretty deep into the story.
I mean, I don't think I'll regret it. I mean, I think
cleric is always a good choice.
I think
that's always been my like go-to class. I always like playing a class.
You played a cleric in our 5e game, didn't you?
I did. I always love playing support classes. I don't know why, but like even in like Destiny or Divinity, like I chose a cleric in Divinity.
I didn't.
Like I don't know why. I just love playing a support class.
Did you pick cleric in Kingmaker?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Crusader. I played as Crusader cleric, which is more martial based.
I did Magus through mine, and I kept Tristane with me like the entire time. I don't think he left my party one time. Well, he did, but
spoilers.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if I again, like building the character. I mean, cleric's always good to have, like, or just in case you run into like undead or something. That's pretty much a good thing to have.
And also healing is
And yeah, obviously healing is a huge thing. So,
Yep.
what about you, Chris?
Yeah. You want to say
Yeah,
what
you
you
want to
are?
like say? I know we've done the show, but
Yeah, swashbuckler. So yeah, I went from being that support class to being a badass damage dealer.
it's kind of funny that like if you look at like the build how you've described Galio, that a swashbuckler really isn't. It doesn't fit my perception of what he would look like. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, not at all. And like,
I do believe Bard is the more it fits his character better.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to have. I did like. I was like, you could have stayed a Bard. Like,
yeah.
no big deal. But
Well, and I think it would have been, it still would have been cool, but yeah, like I said, I had an adverse experience, and so I thought the next best thing that I could find was swashbuckler, and so I went with that. And I think it was like the first time we rolled initiative, I was like, this makes zero sense for him to be this quick.
I remember like you like that first combat. I think it was in episode 2. We got into, and I just remember like you rolled initiative, and you kind of had this look on your face.
Yeah.
And you're just like, huh. And then it was even like with the combat too. Like you were
Yeah.
hitting like a high teen, low low to mid 20s, and you're just like, oh my god, like what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's where the interest like I was a little frustrated with it at first, but then it's like, well, no, this is a chance to reinvent him a little bit, and so we, instead of him being that real rotund guy that we first meet him as, I just figured, after a year of being out on the farm and stuff, maybe he bulked up a little bit. He's still a tubby dude, but he's got more muscle than fat, so.
it's like
I mean, I guess it makes sense.
it's like linemen in football. Like, yeah, they're like
Yeah.
but there's a lot of muscle behind like all that weight. But I mean, like, it's always like I don't know about you, Chris or Kevin, but like for me, every time you get like you start a new character, I always get like super nervous for the first like dozen episodes, just how like because that's basically maybe the first 10 episodes. That's like your real baseline of how you're gonna like set your character up.
yeah.
And I always feel like I never do a good job. I never do a really good job at like hashing that out.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same feeling going into this. I kind of had the idea of how I want him to be, and then I'm not trying to keep going back to it, but then he went from being this like he's gonna be this timid guy that kind of stayed behind everybody, but now they deal so much damage. I had to get him out there and kind of change his identity a little bit. And so I think it's natural, like for the first handful of episodes when you're starting out, that you are kind of on that search to figure out exactly where it is, and then you kind of hit your stride and you go with it.
Yeah, I'm like for me right now, like through the first 3 episodes, like I was kind of happy I got to go first, in terms of like I got like that introduction.
Yeah.
Just because it felt like it was a great way of me like, oh, I can kind of think, she's kind of like this, like she has ambition, but she's not like outwardly progressive about it. She's been traveling like basically since her whole like adult like ish like since she was in her teens or whatever. So just trying to do her best in terms of spreading the good word, as it were. So it's just kind of I obviously there's stuff that you have to work on, but like it's just I'm excited really, like the stuff that like obviously Kevin knows and I know. Pretty hyped about it.
Yeah.
I look forward to all this story being revealed, and just all the relationships that the characters can have.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that Avery and Nasino would be like closer than would be she'd probably get closer with him than the other two.
Well, yeah, care to reveal, or we're gonna leave that a mystery for now? Because I got questions.
I think it's because of I can't remember. I think because we're both kind of I don't really know, because like obviously like outside of character, like in character we know things, and outside of character we know stuff. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't
right.
Say something
all right.
So
We'll save it.
Based on what I know and like what I know about my character and what like we know, I think, and this is what I think. This could be completely wrong, but I think they would connect in a way better than she would connect with like Tawny or Galio. Because I think her perception of Galio and Tawny are like, oh, they're a little like off kilter, or like off, like, you know, they're a little bit out there.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
Galio's
Yeah.
so like, he's so outwardly expressive,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just very like boisterous, and then Tawny just doesn't, like, she just doesn't care. Like, she doesn't, there's not a lot of like manner behind how she acts. You know, like, she's very like outdoorsy, like,
Very unkempt.
yeah, like not that it's a bad thing.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
Dez is playing that amazing, and I'm like literally, even in me personally, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to talk to this person. Like, stop picking your teeth, you freaking weirdo. Like, you know what I mean? So she's
Right.
done a great job with it, and you're doing, like, you always have done a great job with how Galio acts. Like, it's even back when we were doing Ire, I was like, oh, fucking Galio's here. Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
But
I love evoking that, just any emotion. Like, if you have an opinion on a character, that's awesome.
But you gotta, oh no, but you gotta understand, like, with Nasano, she's, religious. That's what she grew up in. So it's, everything's like proper and tidy, and like it's gotta be all like, like prim and proper basically. So for her, this is just like, oh my god, this. And with Avery, like, we don't know anything. Like, we like the whole thing that happened in episode 3, with like him going like, am I still have control, and her catching all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, okay, like, interesting. Like, let's try to, like, I wanted to have like kind of like a peel the curtain back kind of thing, but obviously, probably not going to happen episode 3.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but I totally see that. I mean, say it for me again so I get it right for once. It's Nasano, right?
It's Nasano.
Nasano.
Yeah.
Like Nasano, she seems very quiet and reserved, and so I think probably, at least my interpretation of Avery, is he's this recluse. So at least on the face, it seems kind of like they're similar,
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm trying to play that like super quiet, meek, like, like, just cleric basically. I know sometimes they can be like more like, like, here, like, let me shove it in your face, like, this is my religion kind of stuff. But I don't know, I don't think she's that kind of person. I think in her travels, like when she was younger, she had that mentality, because like when you first go out on your own, you have your own view of how your life's going to go, and then life has a habit of kicking you in the teeth.
Right. Yeah.
So I think over the course of her travels from her, like, where she's from, I think it just turned into like, okay, people obviously don't want to listen to it if you're not from the patronage they believe in. So she kind of just keeps it to herself and stuff like that. It's just, yeah, I'm excited to see where these relationships go between the characters.
Yeah, me too.
You haven't said anything, Kevin. You want to?
I've been letting you guys talk.
I mean, you have anything
So
to
how
say?
bad of a
Like,
GM am I?
You're not bad.
Nah, man.
Everyone's gonna have their hiccups. It's.
You know what? Starting a new adventure, though, I mean, that's always gonna. You got to get through that. It kind of takes a while, just like it takes a while for the characters to kind of get into their groove. It takes the GM a little bit of time to find his
Especially
groove.
starting at level 8.
Now, if you're gonna be like
Yeah,
Chris and be 120 episodes in and still forget stuff, then we'll talk. But I couldn't do any better. I want to preface that I could probably not do any better. So I'm
trying to, like, in my notes, I have stuff that I'm thinking that'll come up right on my notes, But there's this stuff that you just can't prepare for.
Chris.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a GM question?
Yeah.
And I'm sure this has happened in our Dead Sons. So, if you can say it if you want, like, if, obviously, I guess it doesn't matter about Dead Sons here, but is it frustrating for, like, if like we're going through like a session into Starfinder, like, is it frustrating for you when we miss something?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
And you're trying, like, and you're like, like, I know you probably have tried to steer us toward it, and we're just like, no, we're gonna do this. Like, how frustrating is that? Like, this could be like, oh, this, even like this tiny piece of information, like, does it feel like you wasted prep on it? Like, you're like, I could have done something different if I knew they were gonna skip it. Obviously, you don't know we're gonna like blow right by it, but
There's there's times when items are missed, and I'm like, I feel bad for you all that you missed it. And that was hard to overcome early on. Like, I would just move it to a different room so that you would find it anyway. And like, after the fact, I was kind of like, you know what? Like, if they miss it, they missed it. I'm under no obligation to give it to them unless it's something that has a story piece.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you guys like don't go through like a whole area, you skip a few rooms or something like that. I'm not too bummed about it, except for the fact that I look at it like that was padding. That's good for a few more episodes, and they skipped it. But the only time I remember at Dead Sons that I was truly bummed, and I told you all about it, was back in book 2 on Castrovel. There was that, like, you could go through the woods and there was the dinosaur things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they had like special mechanics. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then you guys are like, let's go around. I'm like, no.
Well, I think we realized later that it was probably better that we did go around.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, if you guys had passed that check to identify them, I think you might have decided to go through, because I would have been able to tell you, like, yeah, they're herbivores. They're largely peaceful.
Yeah.
But nobody passed that check, so I couldn't tell you that, and it just looked freaky.
I just
makes no sense when you have a character who is from that location.
Okay.
I think I just rode like shit.
I mean, I'm also from. I was the Domosh also from Kasha, but he wasn't from that.
Yeah, he wasn't from Ukalam.
But I'm just like seeing where we are, like in, like this box. I feel like that's gonna happen a lot.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna miss a fuck ton of stuff. Which I feel like for Kevin, he's probably like, all right, cool. Like less shit for me to.
I think I mentioned this, but this module is written to be like a side quest, and it's also written in a way where, how do I word this? It's written in a way that you are going to get a lot of powerful items, but you may or may not be able to keep them after it ends.
I know you've told me like, oh, I can't wait till you guys find like this item. Like you don't always say the name, but he's like this item. Like, oh, there's some awesome.
There's a
stuff
bunch of cool shit in like, this dungeon.
Like leading up to it, like obviously, because Kevin and I live together, we see each other almost every day. So it's like we're gonna talk about it. So I remember like I'd walk in, I go, hey, like what are you doing? And he'd be like, oh, I'm just working on whatever. I didn't see anything. Like I didn't see any crazy like end game shit or anything. It was like I don't remember anything I saw, to be honest with you. But it's just a lot of like, oh, like just some cool stuff you guys could get. And I'm like, if we find it,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So, no, I'm excited. Like, I think I kind of wish it was more than like a month. Like I'm kind of like. Let's put Dead Sons monthly. Let's just do this all the time. But I think that's just because we're like starved for something different.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because I mean, not that like Dead Sons obviously had its flaws, but I think overall it's been okay.
Been fine, yeah.
Yeah, like we've had some good moments.
That's why I don't want to do an AP anymore.
Yeah,
I want to do a module so we can get to a new thing within a year.
Yeah, like 2.5 years to finish. Yeah. Almost 2.5 years to finish AP.
When did we start Dead Sons? It was April 2018.
To be fair, we can say we did the whole AP though.
That's true.
I mean, I've never done that before.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I start that I don't finish, so it'll be amazing to finish something.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts that don't like. They get 2 episodes in and then.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, there's some that flame out. Like, I know I've listened to D&D ones that have gotten like, like a third of a way through like an AP, and they stop.
We've done now 3. We're in the middle of a 3rd adventure.
Yeah,
and we're starting a 4th.
We're starting a 4th. So, yeah, it's interesting, like it's kind of I even though we've been doing this for almost like over 2 years, I still have that weird feeling of like, yeah, I do a podcast. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I still get that feeling of like when people talk about podcasts, I in my mind I go, hey, I do one of those. Like my voice is forever out there, all the dumb shit I've said and all that stuff.
That reminds me. Oh, what episode was it? It was I think it's the most recent one that went out. Chris is talking about Coyote Peterson, and he's like, yeah, he always gets bit by stuff. And then at the very end of the conversation, Ryan's like, hey, you know that there's that guy who gets bit by stuff, and we're like, and then we just gloss over it. I'm like, we're probably talking about the same thing.
No, it's not. I was thinking of the pain, the pain index.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah, we were.
I
remember you saying
mentioned
that.
it because you're like, yeah, him. Like, no. It's the guy who like actually. I can't remember what it's called. Let me look it up real quick.
I think Coyote Peterson actually did an episode with him.
Oh, they're two different people?
Yeah.
I thought they were the same person.
No, Coyote Peterson gets bit and stung by things, but then he actually interviewed the guy that came up with like the pain and or wrote a book about it or something.
The Schmidt pain scale.
Yeah, I think he actually interviewed him.
Oh,
Yeah,
Justin
the guy basically like just goes around and he like gets like all of the like stings and he rates them. Like he like on purpose goes and does this.
Oh, this guy.
That's what I was talking. I couldn't remember what it was. So I was like, oh, that guy gets like bit by stuff. No, it wasn't.
All of his pictures on Google are just. Oh, there's the picture of him with Coyote Peterson. It's him with a bug on his face.
Yeah, like he like willingly does this so he can go like, oh yeah, like this is super bad or this is like whatever. You know, I'm like, what a weirdo.
That's awful.
Hey, someone's got to do it.
That's
yeah.
For science.
For science.
If you say so.
Really,
yeah, like I've been listening back, and there's some stupid shit that we say.
Just some? There's a lot.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
a lot
the
of
clips that you pull, which I go every so often, I'll go back and listen to all of them because there are some. I've said some funny.
There's some
things.
bangers.
There are some good bangers in there.
Yeah.
There was one I was going back through, and the one Chris said pissed me off. It re-pissed me off at work.
Harambe?
Yeah, it was Harambe. I was so because I was the only one who fucking heard it. Because we're sitting there because I was back when we recorded at Des and Alex's house, and he sat right next to me. So we're sitting there, and he goes, and I said something, and he goes Harambe, and he kind of said like under his breath, and I think I remember turning and looking at him like, "You son of a bitch!" And I started to laugh. I was like, "Shut up!" So I was at work, and I had my headphones on. We were just, I think it was like waiting for something like a flight or whatever. And I just sat there and I heard it again. I went, fucking shut up, Chris. Like out loud at work. And someone's like, what? And I was like, nothing.
That's amazing.
I listen to it. No, I do. Those clips are like, I think those clips are a good, like, I wish those could get out more because I feel like that's like, hey, this is like a highlight of what we've done. You know, like I feel like that could be like our greatest clips thing. Like, hey, this is like the good stuff.
So that's why I did a clips thing at the end of the Patreon announcement video.
Yeah, like I feel like, you know, like, hey, this is kind of like some of the funnier stuff we've
I also just trying to cut down the Zarantha Samantha encounter into like a video, but
it's too
it's too long.
There's so much context.
That'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of cool. If you think about
goes from one episode to the next too.
Yeah, it's like 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Yeah. But to go back to what you were saying before, you know, about how you're amazed, like, yeah, I do a podcast. I mean, we sit here and we know we're in a sea of podcasts and we're competing with all these podcasts out there. But I think
there's a sea of Dead Sons podcasts too.
Yeah, like, literally.
I think, like, I know we've said it before in live streams that I was thinking, I really think we kind of screwed the pooch on going for Dead Sons.
Yeah.
Right when it came out. Like, I think if we maybe would have either like just played through Ire fully.
There's some really cool side quests in there.
Yeah, or like maybe just doing like a smaller event. Like I know there wasn't really a whole lot out for Starfighter at the time.
Yeah, there wasn't. Like we started like 5 months after it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was quick.
Plus, we needed to give you time to make
prepare everything.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, like what I was trying to get at was that, you know, there's all these podcasts out there, but like when you bump into everyday people, there's probably not a whole lot of them that you know, or you know, just strangers you see at the store that actually do a podcast. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know it's funny because like I don't like a lot of people I work with. They're all like a lot of like, you know, like 10 to 15 years older than me. So I don't really talk about it. Because like, what are they gonna do? You know, like they're not gonna listen to anything.
They couldn't figure out how to turn their monitors on.
No, and you know, like every time like, oh, like, oh, what do you listen to? I'm like, I listen to podcasts a lot, and they go, oh, and I'm like, oh, I see you don't. Like, there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
But like when people do ask, like I have friends ask, like, oh, like, you know, oh, I was listening to this D&D podcast. I'm like, hey, your boy over here does one.
You know what I mean? Technically not D&D, but I'm not going to tell you that because that's a little too much information.
It's like D&D,
But in space.
but harder. Yeah, it's really kind of because like normally we go for, like, I know you said this is about the Patreon show. We've kind of gotten away from that, but back to that, like getting used to, like, because like 1 week we'll record, we'll go like Starfinder, then Pathfinder. So I'm kind of always in the headspace of Starfinder.
Yeah.
It's like getting back into combat again and being like, oh, I don't have stamina points anymore, or like I don't have resolve points, and I have like damage is so much lower, but it's because of like but like all like the enemies don't have like a shit ton of health or whatever.
Or you can take a 5-foot step and still full attack.
Yeah, like that. So,
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like I think it's kind of a refreshing take to kind of go back to Pathfinder just for like one recording session, because like even like now obviously now things are moving a lot more, like a lot quicker in Starfinder. Like I mean I feel like we blew through book 5.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if like what like the average time of book 5 would be, but I feel like we blew through it.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Just look at the episodes and see where we started and finished. But
compared to like book what was the longest? What would you say is the book we've been the longest on?
oh gosh, I don't know.
I'd say, what, 3?
Maybe
2.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 because that jungle thing felt like it took forever.
Let's see here.
Oh, we're getting the official answer. But yeah, I mean, just the trek to the jungle. I mean, that just felt like that went on forever, which it's kind of appropriate. I mean,
it is appropriate, yeah. So let's see. Episode 1. Where are you at? There it is. All right. So the first book.
Do you have it listed by book?
No, I'm just figuring it out from the titles. So the first book was episodes 1 through 15.
There's only
Is
15
that all?
episodes to get to
Wow.
book 2?
Yeah. So
Have we had a character die or leave in every book?
Let's see, first one, yeah. Second one,
Yes.
who left? I don't
Kima.
remember. Oh yeah,
okay. So
that's right.
She got arrested.
Third one
book, yes.
was who was it in the third one?
EP left.
That's right. That's when. Okay.
And then 4th was Domach leaving.
So yeah, every book
So
except
book
for
5,
the fifth
except for 5th, I think will be should be. We almost lost Razel twice.
one. Yeah. See, it's interesting. I mean, you remember when we first started it was like, this is impossible. We're going to get, like, people are going to, like, I felt like people thought they were going to drop dead left and right. Like, when we were looking at the core rule book and whatnot.
I don't know if you ever, like, remember looking up, like, when people first came out, like, people were getting TPK'd by the Gargaggle.
Yeah.
Like, people, people were using, like, as the rules were written book, like, because none of the book were off. And, like, I mean, you said, what fight was it we were looking up? You're like, yeah, there's no way this fight should have been this hard.
Into book 4.
They misprinted something. And
and there's so many misprints.
So fucking high.
So issue with the transition from book 2 to 3. There was 3 episodes of 4 episodes. Wait. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 episodes of just hanging out with Rats and his brother.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
So what do I count that as? Book 2 or 3? You know?
Yeah. Go with book.
I'd say 3,
2.
right? Well, no, because we were finished on Castroville.
Well, the book technically ends. Doesn't it technically end when you leave the jungle?
Yeah.
So I'd say 3.
Yeah. So
I love how we were like, let's talk about the Patreon show. We only have 3 episodes. I don't know really what to talk about. Like, I feel bad, right? We've been talking a lot of Dead Sun stuff, but it's
sir.
just.
No. And the end of book 3 was leaving the Eoxian planet.
Yeah.
So book end of book 4 would have been.
So it would have been 66, 67 through.
God, it took 66, 65 episodes to get through what, 3 books?
Also, there were a couple one shots in here too, so that's also.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like the Halloween and Christmas stuff.
Book 4 is Kish Place.
Yes, Ishtamak.
I almost did Talavet. Not the name of the city. That is the.
And then obviously episode 100.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a cool thing.
Oh, okay. That reminds me. You were saying, like when people miss stuff. I had so much written for that, and I was a little bummed at first because I had story little bits everywhere. And then Kevin made that check to just have the map of the ship and know where to go. I was like, no. But honestly, if we would have spent all that time going through that entire ship, that would have turned into like a 5-part episode.
Yeah.
So 99.
I think, like, back. So I'm gonna go back to the Patreon show here for a second. I like getting that, like being that first character. Like, I don't know if I portrayed it, but man, I was super nervous that whole first bit until I met you, or I talked to Galileo.
What, Ryan was super nervous?
Yeah, I was super nervous.
Well, what were you nervous about?
Well, gotta think, right? I'm the first PC you're meeting in a Patreon show. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge like weight to put on, like, you know, and I still don't think I did a good job with it. But I'm also super overly critical about myself, so I could have done fine, but I think it could have been way better. But
no, I thought it came. I mean, especially knowing more about your character now. I mean, she's quiet, you know, and she's entering into an uncertain world on the outskirts, you know, away from civilization.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything you did felt appropriate to me, and it was kind of like it wasn't like this loud. And I mean, can you imagine if Gallia was your first introduction into this?
It would be a shock for sure, but that's also like a character we've established like a connection with through Ire. So at least it's like a familiar face. You're like, oh, okay, like we're catching up with Gallia. Like, what has he been doing since we got done with Ire? You know what I mean? And but not that it was a bad thing. It was just kind of like oh, I'm first. Like, okay, well, guess so. And I didn't know how long like my introduction, quote unquote, was going to be. You know, like obviously that kind of depends on what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just like kind of getting over that, like starting a new show thing. Because that happened with Dead Sons 2, which I still think that was one of my more favorite introductions with Domash and Krios.
Yeah, buddies. I kind of wonder what it would be like if
figuring
you
it
were
out,
stuck
guys.
out longer.
I'm going to tell you how long.
I mean, I
it's going to be book 4, 100%.
Oh, really?
100%. Yeah. Book 4 is 32 episodes.
That's 8 months.
Oh, wait.
Episode a week.
Yeah.
8 months worth of episodes. Almost a whole year.
Book 1 was 15. Book 2 is 24. Book 3 is 24.
Ooh.
Book 4 is 32, and book 5 is about 20 so far.
I would say book 5 was quick.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was because we finally, for the first time, knew what the fuck we were gonna do and where we were going.
Yeah. No, there's no more guessing, no more mystery.
Yeah. I forgot what I was talking about before.
Yeah, I don't remember. So what did you think of the homebrew stuff compared to the actual adventure stuff?
What was homebrewed?
Everything until you got into the box.
I obviously most of it was the character stuff, which I liked. I'm glad I didn't have to talk to myself.
Yeah,
like Chris did when he DM'd. I thought it was really well done. I think I don't know if you noticed, but like when I like especially when I went to go meet Galio, I was trying to like kind of flesh out a lot of like the NPCs. I was trying to talk to like the bartender. I was like, oh, like is he always like this? So I was trying to like interact with some people like out on the street or whatever, just to kind of like flesh this town out more.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't like bring like Evelyn in for like a cameo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the reason I didn't was because we were already going long on that first episode. Like, I didn't want to have 2 episodes of being in Prydon's Hearth.
Yeah, but like it would be kind of cool like if you like you walked by like what the hell was she doing after Ire?
I don't even know.
She was gonna go start a school.
Yeah, like you walk by like a school and you see like 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 someone outside like sweeping the front porch and it'd be like Evelyn or whatever like just to kind of tie her in, which I mean you still could do at the end if we make it to the end. So
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I mean you're talking about introducing characters and fleshing out the town. Like what do you prefer more? Is like getting in and like doing that role play and getting the other everything fleshed out, or do you prefer combat?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
What do I think it just kind of depends, right? It's like when I first started playing in Pathfinder, I think because it was our D&D, I'm sorry, it was like my first time ever playing. There was a lot of role play. I don't know, would you say there was a lot of role play, Kevin?
And Alex's game?
In Alex's game.
I think it was like half and half.
Anyway, I think I kind of gravitate towards role play more because I feel like with that I can be more just like expressive. Like I still to this day think that Domash was like some of the best role play that I've had. Like there are some moments with Domash that I was really, really proud of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a great arc.
It could have been better.
Well, I mean, it can always be better, but I mean, like, he was very dynamic.
Well, we still haven't finished the arc. What are you talking about?
That's what we should do after we get done with, or maybe like if we finish this thing for the Patreon show, we can pick up with Domash and the crew.
Yeah, they're still out there.
Possibility. I think I prefer roleplay more because I think it's a way for me to kind of stretch my legs a little bit better. In my head, I'm a very creative person. Like I'm very like in my head, I'll make stories up all the time. Like, and I feel like they're very like like I could picture everything that's going on. So I think with roleplay, I can kind of stretch that like those imaginative legs a little bit more because combat's very just A/B.
Yeah.
It's maybe we could be better at describing what we do, and maybe that's a thing. I know that's a thing we've been saying since day one. But
hey, we did better last night. IMO.
Yeah,
I think we did too. Well, yeah, but it's more of a like with Sev. I don't know. I'm not really happy with him. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. If I'm gonna be honest, I think it was kind of I dug myself into a hole with Domash I didn't know how to get out of. So let's just new slate it.
Speaking of Chris, I need to talk to you about a backup character just in case. You never know when your character is gonna die.
Probably should hit you up for backup characters.
I had 2 ideas that I need to talk to you about.
Alrighty.
I'm feeling that.
Let's talk about it here.
Yeah, right now. No, I mean, like combat can be fun. Like we've obviously had some really fun combats. Like I think the combat we had on Ishtamok, where like we just wiped out like there's 4 people in like a round or 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still love the part 1 where I pushed that guy into the vat or the acid pool
against.
It's so good. I loved it.
Yeah. But I don't know about you. Like I think with Nasano, I want to do a lot more role play with just within the characters because I really want to put my effort into her because this is a special show. I think it deserves it. Not that like the regular show doesn't, but I'm hoping to have something to do like as soon as we like the next episode. we record.
Oh, a story beat to hit.
Not really like a story beat, more of just like a character thing. I thought we were gonna get to it before last week, but Kevin Christ us and see you next week.
We were already at 2 hours.
Yeah. There's a lot to. Yeah.
That was we're not gonna talk about that here, but
No, not yet. Next
you'll,
time
you'll
we
see next month what happens.
Next month, we'll talk about
Although, if you're not a patron and you're watching this after the fact, it should be out. So go subscribe and listen to it now.
it. Yeah, listen to it now. I think it'll be good. I enjoy my character. I think she's pretty cool. She has some tricks up her sleeves.
Chris, you didn't answer my question about the homebrew versus the actual module. I know it's 2 episodes of the homebrew and 1 episode of getting into the actual module, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, we talking just like the whole like first.
Yeah, the first
and second
section.
episode?
Yeah.
I forget when it ended. Did it end when the first episode ended when we got the box?
No. First episode ended with the creatures on the beach yelling at you, and then next episode we got into the combat and got sucked.
Yeah, I liked it. It brought back some familiar characters. We got to revisit the place. Like I said, I loved the coachman. That was great. And then I like how, I think we talked about it. I like how you changed the nature of the creatures on the beach a little bit. Because I think we said it was a combination of what was in Ire, which is an encounter that was missed, and then you added something to it.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Last of Us 1.
Hot take, bud.
Last of Us 2 is not as bad as everyone says it is. Just saying.
No, it's not. It's just not as good.
It's worthy of its Game of the Year nomination.
Well, I mean, it was going to come out. You knew it was going to get a Game of the Year nomination,
but
regardless of how bad it was.
So, Last of Us is a zombie-ish game. You probably have you heard of it, Chris? Chris?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Okay.
Chris, do you know what cordyceps are?
No.
So there's this real fungus that infects ants and makes them like kill themselves.
Yeah.
So the concept of this video game is that cordyceps, it becomes it can now infect humans and causes them to be zombies. So scratches, bites, causes other people to get this fungus / disease, which causes them to die and then be reborn basically as these zombies, which is a lot different from every other zombie thing where it's just it's some reason they're back alive in the brain or something.
A lot of it's like it's a mutated rabies virus, because that's pretty much the closest thing we have to an actual like a zombie virus is rabies.
But in Pathfinder, there is I think I have it saved somewhere. In Pathfinder, there's a monster that's called like Ant Soldier, and it has a disease, cordyceps. So I just grafted the disease onto humans, and there you go. You got actual cordyceps from the video game. And then, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't remember. Was there like, we were supposed to make like a fortitude save, right? Nobody caught that there, right? Like,
correct.
So if we would have caught that, then what is it? We could have turned into
It's a disease, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
But I'll tell you this, to kind of finish the question is, I thought the introduction was good. The homebrew was good. I'm almost wanting to go back to that ship afterwards and learn more about why that ship's there.
Yeah.
Like I'm intrigued to what, they crashed, I'm
going to take an educated guess and say they turned into zombies and that's why it crashed.
Yeah. But then I want to find out like, where is this coming from? And, what place on Earth or on Galarian is infected by this now,
So the creature is called a giant ant spore zombie.
Yeah, you can keep that.
Keep that away from me.
It is undead. Let's see. It has a poison. It doesn't
Undead, you
have.
said?
I can't find it now. Hold on. Let me open up. No, I don't want to save. Get out of here.
Chris, I guess since you asked me, I'll ask you. What do you prefer with role play or combat? Like, what do you lean more towards?
I think 100% role play.
Now,
And that's just because, like we keep going back to Dead Sons. I haven't been able to play a character for like an extended, like the best role play we had, I think, in Dead Sons that I got to do was Samantha. So,
Yeah.
and that I was when Rats cast that spell, I was counting on that going for like that combat going for the entire episode. And then when that happened, I was ticked. I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. And part of that is just like not being exposed to improv a whole lot. But after it happened, I was really glad that happened because that turned out to be like a great moment of role play. And so my tendency in this adventure that we're doing monthly now is going to be probably to over role play. And I'm really trying to correct against that because, Galley's already a character that's going to try to be center stage all the time. So, yeah.
I think that's going to be a good thing. I wouldn't try to overcorrect it too much because how many NPCs are we really going to run into?
Right. Oh, yeah. In the monthly show.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I honestly, like, we ran into like, well, I'm not expecting you to comment, but I'm just
saying,
you
ruined
it. Spoilers. As a PC, I can't imagine us running into like more than like one or two people, like maybe or whatever that were stuck in before we were.
Yeah.
Back to the affliction. I found it. So cordyceps, I have it set as a disease. So now in Pathfinder, they do diseases differently, slightly from Starfinder, but they have alternate rules to make it more similar to Starfinder, where it has like stages, like a track. So I had it's a physical track and frequency. You have to roll a save every 2d4 hours. And then once and I think there's 6 stages. So once you get it down to the 6th stage, you die and then come back as like a zombie 1d4 hours later.
I mean, be all right with that, role playing that.
So, yeah, it's brutal, but it's like way easier in this because of magic. You can just cast restoration or lesser restoration, and boom, you're fine.
Yeah.
Whereas in the real world, there ain't no something like that. Nope.
That we know of.
True.
But yeah, I still enjoy combat, but I feel like when I get into combat, like my brain just goes to sleep and it just becomes
it's very mindless.
Yeah, and it's hard to. I mean, we're trying to break out of that, but it's just so easy to slip into. Okay, I'm rolling dice now.
Because you go from playing the game to just rolling dice.
Yeah.
Like you're playing the game, but there's not a whole lot of like critical thinking. It's just, okay, I move my character here and then I punch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's like a natural human thing too, is because, what is it? The left side of your brain is the logic. The right side of your brain is the creative part. So as soon as you get down in, you're rolling dice, you're sitting there thinking of math and tactics and strategy. And so, I mean, you really got to work extra hard to engage both sides of your brain to keep that role play alive while you're in combat. So, I mean, I like combat, but I tend to lose the role play in it. So, I mean, I think once I get to be a better player, it'll probably be the same across the board. I'll like the whole thing. But right now, it's just, I love role play is the reason I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kevin, I imagine combat's probably your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was figure. I mean, roleplay can be very hard. Like it's not exactly easy to grasp.
Yeah, it requires me to talk.
I feel you're like, as soon as I want to say something, like either it just goes away or can you just lose your train of thought? Because I've had that happen a couple times too. Where, like, I go to like. I have such a great idea in my head of like, this will be fucking awesome. and you'll go do it and you're like, I forgot, or like, oh, this isn't going, like the answer I expected didn't happen.
My brain
So-
sucks. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So it has been an hour. Do you said you need to go, Chris?
Yeah, I probably gotta hop off here now.
All right. So I think that was a good talk. We didn't get to play any games, but
but for me, like, I know I've expressed this before and I know it'll never happen, but I like this kind of like round, like, like this round table, like just talk
Discussion.
about whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do a podcast of, which I know there's, you want to talk about a sea of podcasts
Where you just talk about random
where you
shit.
just talk about random shit. That is so much worse than the situation we find ourselves in now.
That was me and Alex's podcast when we first tried to do a podcast.
Which one was it?
Rated P for podcast.
Oh, you were on that? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to be on it so bad.
Yeah.
So-
It was.
And you guys never knew how to start an episode.
Yeah, that is true. We spent. Oh my god, it was so bad.
I remember you talk. I remember like coming. We were talking about it like at work one day, like when you were doing it. Like, yeah, we just spent like 30 minutes. We just couldn't start it because like you guys kept laughing or something.
Yeah.
Like, and now we do it every week.
Yeah, I know.
We
Well,
still
it
laugh.
helps that we have a fact to get into right away.
Speaking of facts, before we go, I'm very excited to see what
I wonder
Alex
what
has.
Alex is doing.
He's
My
doing
guess.
C
You
facts.
guys want to take a guess at what it is?
He said he's doing opinionated facts.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He said I think that's what he said, right? When we were talking about it,
I
because
thought
like
he was joking.
he might have been.
I
then
think it's
again-
gonna be Magic the Gathering.
Or improv facts.
But it's improv.
Yeah.
It's so
there's
funny
nothing
that-
fact about improv.
The stupid bit that I did, that started just because I don't know I don't remember how it started, like, or why it happened. But now all 5 of us have done it. Like all 5 of us.
You're talking the facts?
Yeah, I don't remember why.
It was the Snapple facts.
Yeah, but why did it start though? Like I don't remember why it got brought up.
I think you were just like you had a Snapple drink there one night and you just were reading the fact and you're like, hey, I'm going to share this with you guys.
Oh, I brought. Oh, you know what? I know what it was, Kevin. It was when we stopped at that gas station that's like right off of 74.
Mm-hmm.
Is that marathon up there where Dunkin' Donuts is?
I think so. Yeah.
So we stopped there to do something,
Get a drink.
get a drink or something, and I was like, oh, I haven't had a Snapple in a while, and I think I just brought it with me, and we were just drinking because that room just gets so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
look what you did.
That's what I did. I did a stupid thing that
I
all
had
of us have to suffer
The
through.
Snapple Apple a couple weeks ago or last week.
Let's start a
It's
Snapple podcast.
garbage. It's bad apple juice.
Can we make a podcast where every week we go? It'll be short, but we try a new Snapple flavor and we review it.
Hey, I'm down with that.
We drink the drink and we rate the drink.
We can do a short podcast, like a 5-10 minute podcast where we just talk about whatever.
So you don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have to run it.
Okay. Okay.
Ryan can GM that.
I can GM that. All right.
Okay.
Roll a drink. Natural one. You spilled all over yourself. You fucking idiot.
I will too.
Yeah, I know you will.
I will. I'm all about the role play. Okay, I gotta do it.
Commit to the bit, damn it.
Yeah, hey, let's talk about that. I'm interested.
I mean, it'd be so dumb, but it'd be kind of. There's not that many flavors. You could probably get like 10 episodes out of it.
Nah, it could just be some random 5-10 minute talk thing like you want to do, and we figure it out and go with it, and that's just the lead into it.
Yeah. Just like we bullshit and then you go, hey, by the way, Snapple. And that's how we get our first sponsor. Not even
Yeah.
from a show. It's from a dumb 5-minute show. This
Flavor of the
5-minute
week.
This 5-minute show will be brought to you by a 10-minute ad read for NordVPN.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who is checking out our podcast, and our very big thanks to our patrons.
Yeah, without you, this wouldn't even be possible. And
Yes,
I think it's
thank
still
you.
kind of a surreal feeling to go like, oh yeah, people are like paying monthly to hear us be even dumber.
It's cool, and it's so like I don't know, humbling is the
Oh,
word.
it's 100% a
Yeah.
humbling experience because you're like, oh, people actually like want to listen to it, like want to listen to us play games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's very yeah, it's a humbling experience. I mean, I can't thank them enough. Like I'm very fortunate, you know. Like I said, there's a lot of podcasts that don't reach the stage, you know, and it's
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. I think the more shows you get out there, the more each show's a different experience. No two shows are going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, like how many of different good moments have we missed out on because shows didn't make it, and we've just had that very fortunate, just following to like make us be able to do this. So we can't thank you enough.
All righty. Well, I'm gonna hit the end stream button. Say bye.
I love you all. I hate you, Chris.
Yeah.